If you are a fearful avoidant attachment style, there is a very strong likelihood that you have in your history of relationships constantly found yourself dating people's potential. And what does that mean? It means that there's either this combination of you having this kind of wounded bird syndrome where you want to fix or save people, and that even feels like a form of attraction you have to people. It almost like draws you to be attracted to people. And or you find yourself being a little bit too optimistic about what somebody's potential could be. And you date people who may actually have red flags thinking that they will change. Or, if they fall in love with me enough that they'll change. Or when they get a little bit older, grow up a little bit more, or get through this stage of life, whatever it might be, coming out of a divorce, things like this, then they'll change. But in today's video, you're going to learn in the next 7 minutes or so why fearful avoidant attachment styles often bypass red flags and invest in somebody who they think could become something and ignore the reality of whether or not that person is actually showing up. And honestly, until you understand this deeply, there is a really good chance that you continuously find yourself investing in one-sided relationships, and that's gonna need to stop. Okay, so we're gonna talk about 4 key points in this video, and we are gonna talk about why fearful avoidants really feel driven to fix people, save people, rescue people, or date the potential of somebody, and where this actually comes from. Here's one of the first major pillars if this is you. Fearful avoidants often grow up feeling unworthy of healthy love. So what ends up taking place is they essentially think that they have to earn love in order to be worthy of it. And if we're being really honest here, a lot of fearful avoidants, not everybody, but a lot of fearful avoidants, if they think that they are dating somebody who's like a truly equal match to them, or is further along in life than they are, or really any of these things, like further along in life than they are, that basically, if you are a fearful avoidant and you put somebody on a pedestal at all and really see them as like, again, further ahead in life, more attractive, I'm trying to think of these things, more financially abundant, like all these things that we see in society. And these are the things I would see with fearful avoidant clients. If you find that somebody's on a pedestal, usually you're just scared of them. I know that sounds really kind of crazy, but it is very common for fearful avoidants to essentially feel threatened by somebody emotionally, not like physically per se, that they don't feel like they can earn love with. So let me just say that one more time. And I want to hear from you in the comments if this resonates with you. You may find that if you put somebody on a pedestal, or you think that they're a little bit further ahead in life than you are in different areas or in different ways, somebody who you have on that pedestal, you basically become afraid of. You're like, I can't earn my love from them. They're in a different place than I am. They're better than me. And a lot of fearful avoidants don't only talk down to themselves and judge and compare themselves to their partner, but in doing that, they then assume this sense of unworthiness. And this often leads fearful avoidant attachment styles to really pick safe partners that they feel like they are further ahead in life than, in order to feel like they could be worthy of that person and to step into their own perceived safety of essentially having the upper hand in the relationship. If you feel like you're further ahead, or you have more advice to give, or more financial wealth to have, or just anything that basically makes you feel like you don't have to rely on the other person, makes you feel safe. It's not that we should turn this upside down and suddenly you get into a place where it's like you should only pick people who you have on a pedestal. No, but the goal here would be to feel like you are picking and choosing people who are equally showing up in the relationship to give reciprocity in equal ways, can give to you and share with you, and you give to them and share with them. And I don't mean like financially per se. I mean across all the different areas of life, right? Maybe one of you is kind of growing in your career and can give career advice to the other person. Maybe the other person's better with managing money and their finances, shares advice from that perspective. Maybe one person's further ahead in the personal growth or emotionally aware area of life. And so they show up for their partner there in various ways. But it shouldn't be that like in different categories of life, there's just this massive slanted difference. It should be that you feel like in each of these areas, you can be yourself, you can give each other advice, you can bounce around ideas, and really you're entering into side-by-side relationships, equal partnerships. Again, if you feel like somebody's on a pedestal, you'll often feel scared of that. And then you'll be like, I feel threatened by anybody who I can't earn my worth from, because then they're going to leave me or betray me or think I'm not good enough, which is really just a projection of what you feel internally about yourself, not because you are, but because of your own internal conditioning from your own childhood past experiences. And so You pick the safe partner who you think like, okay, I have to be there for them. They need me. And that's the only way you feel safe and worthy enough to be loved. And it's honestly a little bit tragic. It's kind of a sad thing to do, but I just also want to assure you that it is a solvable problem. Okay. You don't have to feel like this. But I actually just want to ask you, and maybe this is like a little bit confronting, but I just want to ask you listening, how does that resonate for you in your body? Like, do you notice that? Like, if you think that you have like this partner who's just in such a great place, do you feel like you can really trust them? Do you trust that they'll stick around? Do you trust that you're worthy of them and they'll love you and see your value? Or does that actually frighten you more than anything else? Okay, so that's point number one. Number two, okay, is that fearful avoidants have an avoidant side to them. Dating somebody's potential also offers a safe degree of emotional distance. Okay, in other words, dating somebody's potential is kind of a deactivating strategy. It's like, oh, if I'm dating somebody's potential, there's sort of a wall up between like the fantasy of the person and the reality. And that distance between the two allows you to feel like there's space that you don't have to feel so vulnerable to a person. So for example, if somebody's not where they're going to be in the future, their potential yet, it's like you don't have to fully invest or like let your guard down so much now. And so it's really a subconscious strategy to create emotional distance a lot of the time, dating somebody's potential. And on top of that, number three, and it kind of goes hand in hand here, that then allows you to put yourself in a position where if you're dating somebody's potential and you've got this emotional distance, you also don't feel as vulnerable to the person because you're in a place where you're like, okay, they're not where they're going to be yet. And being in that place of not having to feel too much vulnerability, feeling like, oh, if it doesn't work out, I don't really need them anyways. I don't know if this person was the perfect fit. They're not what exactly what I was looking for in a partner anyways. Like these rationalizations or justifications are usually just strategies to avoid how scary it actually feels for you deep down, unless you've already done some healing work, to actually lower your guard, open your heart, and let someone in. And this ends up being a strategy that fearful avoidants will often go from relationship to relationship in for long periods of time, because that's their way of like, again, trying to stay safe. Okay. So you may find like your history of relationships being like that. And maybe you have a sporadic history. And I'm going to tell you point number 4, which is the biggest one, or maybe tied for the biggest one. But maybe you have a sporadic history of like dating people who are safe like 3 times in a row. And then there's one time there's a person you date that you don't feel like is a safe option. You actually see as an equal partner. And then that feels like that's the relationship where you're on the biggest roller coaster. It scares you the most. Love feels threatening and confronting because this person could really hurt you because you really love them and feel vulnerable to them and essentially, unfortunately, put yourself down compared to them. And then you may go back to safe relationships. So you may see like kind of a patterned out relationship history that way. And it doesn't mean that like if you're seeing this now, you can't change and heal and end up finding really healthy relationships or transforming a relationship. Maybe you have a spouse that you're married to already for 25 years and you're seeing this today and you have 3 kids and you're like, oh my gosh, that's what I did. It doesn't mean you can't revolutionize that relationship to improve the depth and closeness and intimacy and show up and be able to lean on the person. That's a separate video for a separate conversation that involves very much you learning to be vulnerable as a person. But it's really important to note. Okay, so before I go into number 4, I just want to let you know if you are hearing yourself in this and you want to learn to be vulnerable, you want to learn to heal and feel safe letting somebody in. And one of the best courses you can dive into fully for free for a limited time. If you spin to win down below, you can win like the full course for free for life, but it's the Fearful Avoidant Attachment Style course. And it's all about rewiring your fearful avoidance style based on 6 key pillars of healing, okay? It leverages neuroscience and our understanding of the subconscious mind and nervous system to actually transform your attachment style, okay, to become securely attached. So you can check that out. You can also win a free membership to PDS or a free month-long or 14-day trial to check out the courses, download some workbooks, go through some of the materials, but all of that is available in the link down below. The last thing here, as a child, if you were a fearful avoidant, you probably were the person who had to be the emotional caretaker, maybe of your younger siblings, maybe of an alcoholic parent, maybe of parents who are constantly in chaos with each other and you're sort of caretaking each of them for one reason or another. Because of the chaos you grew up in, you learned that love equals caretaking. And that has probably been really deeply wired into your mind. And on one hand, that can be a beautiful thing. Generally, fearful avoidants actually truly care about contribution to other people's lives and want to make an impact and be there for people and express their caring heart. But the problem is that it often becomes at the expense of yourself because you don't have healthy boundaries yet. So it's not that we reduce the caretaking and reduce caring for other people. It's that we want to increase the ability to caretake for yourself too, and to take yourself into consideration and have healthy boundaries and know what lights you up and gives you room to breathe and to grow and to heal. And, too often fearful avoidants are putting everybody before themselves and themselves last. And it's great. It's a beautiful quality to be somebody who really contributes and thinks of other people, but you need to insert yourself equal to that of other people in the process. Otherwise, you will go from caretaking to burnout, and then you're going to be forced to rely on other people and take from them out of urgency, out of a place where you've burnt yourself out and you have to rely on other people emotionally or financially or physically or whatever it might be, because we can't go on forever like that. So really important things to reflect on. Again, you can heal your attachment style. It's actually not even that hard to heal your attachment style, but I hope that this video gives you a little bit of awareness. For anybody who is listening to this, I was fearful avoidant myself, and years ago, about a decade ago or more, did a lot of deep inner healing to become fully securely attached. I did some original work like 15 years ago and got a good bit of the way there, but I kind of had to learn a little bit later on into my own healing journey, honestly, after even working with clients for a little bit at the time, how to set better boundaries and consider myself as much and things like this. And so I get this, right? But I do want you to know it doesn't have to stay that way. You can still have such a big heart for people and care, but also care for yourself too, so that you have an abundance of things to actually give instead of burning yourself out. Anyways, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Let me know which point of the 4 resonated the most with you in the comments down below, and I will see you next time.